shocked at P. Diddy's horrific crimes. Not the sex trafficking, the musical ones. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The show's been going to get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Love that about you. Rene Vaca, stand-up comedian, is with us. He's got dates coming up all over the place. Sacramento, yes. The Punchline, and that'll be April 11th through the 13th, and then Philadelphia, Punchline, Philly, April 16th and 17th, and then Stress Factory, New Jersey. That's April 18th. Good to see you, Renee.
Nice. Thank you, man. Hell yeah. I forgot I had all those shows.
Glad to remind you.
You grew up in the San Fernando Valley, did you?
Van Nuys, California.
Van Nuys.
818.
Yuck.
Why you don't like the Valley?
I grew up in the Valley.
What's wrong with the Valley? I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud.
No one's proud of Van Nuys, though.
No.
Nobody likes Van Nuys. Maybe if you made it into Sherman Oaks.
I live in Valley Village now. So
that's where I grew up.
Yeah, that's where I live now. So I love the Valley, that side.
Well, Valley Village had to change their name from North Hollywood because they didn't want to get lumped in with North Hollywood.
Yeah. I love Valley. I always told myself, like, man, when I make some money, I'm just going to move to this side of the Valley. Yeah, it was...
Yeah, it's, the Valley has no soul. It's just a place to live. And it's not bad.
It has soul.
Everything was built in like 1967.
True.
The roofs are flat. The windows are aluminum. It's all just kind of like, it's like, it doesn't have, it's not Hell's Kitchen and it's not New Orleans, but with it with the cool stuff comes the bad stuff too, and it doesn't really have much bad stuff.
No. It has like the studios, right? Like Universal Studios, the Disney Studios.
It's like
funds it.
The Valley's like, okay. Here's what I'm saying. It's kind of like staying at just like a Red Roof Inn or Hilton or something like that. Like what you're. It's like eating at Sizzler or something. It's you know what you're gonna get. You stay at a boutique hotel. You may get something cool, but you may get shit, is what I'm saying. The Valley is...
Valley's safe.
It's like, I'm trying to... It's like eating at a TGI Fridays. You know what you want.
Yeah.
It's there. It's not amazing cuisine. It's not going to be served at the Oscars, but it's good.
You don't want to brag about it.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
And it is affordable.
Man. I kind of feel like you just disrespected my Valley, man.
I grew up in the Valley. My entire family grew up.
I'm like, this is my home.
We were in Valley Village before you were born.
No. I do. I mean, my dream is to live in Malibu one day.
Oh.
That's not the Valley. That's the Valley.
Valley of Malibu?
No. Is Malibu considered the San Fernando Valley?
I'm sure there's a
valley
people.
In there. If it was considered San Fernando Valley, people in Malibu would kill themselves.
Okay, you're right.
They would never be lumped in with you people.
They'd pull a Valley Village on.
Yeah,
I woke up in Malibu today. It was nice.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How'd that work?
Got a hotel with my girl and just at the Malibu beach end. Man, it was nice. Very nice. Beachfront. Woke up. Breakfast in bed.
Any special occasion?
Trying to work things out with the wife. We were separated, and then I was like, let's work it out before we divorce.
Good move, a little staycation.
Yeah, it was
That's
cool.
my argument. You can't work it out in Valley Village.
You gotta go. Okay, I was about to say that.
You want to work it out, you got to go to Malibu.
I was like, you know what? We stay in Valley Village, but let's go to Malibu, man.
So you were separated?
Yeah. It's hard in this, I guess I had a quick pop on Instagram, with followers and and with the shows and everything, and I was like adjusting to that life. I guess sometimes you can get lost in the sauce, as they say, and just the women and the fans and all that stuff. So it's one of those things where at first I was like, what, I gotta go live this life. Can't you see it's calling my name?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I don't want to be part of this life. Have you ever like at a strip club or like at a nightclub and you just see all these people partying it up and they're all drinking? And it was a sober where I was like, it was a week where I'm not drinking for 1 week, and in that 1 week I was like looking at everyone around me. I was like, man, everyone around me is kind of stupid. I was like, I'm gonna get my wife back, man. What the hell am I doing?
Well, did you leave? Did you say I'm leaving to go sow my wild oats?
I didn't say it like that, but we were also fighting because of all that stuff, and trust is a big thing, especially when you're with a Latina, right? You gotta. It's hard. It's hard.
She's Latina.
Yeah, I'm Latina. I'm Latino. I'm not Latina.
Yeah,
I'm Latino.
So your Instagram pops. Maybe you're getting a few extra DMs.
Oh yes, from mainly men, but there's some women in there that sneak in, and
Yeah. Well, listen, it's hard when you're young and you grow up in a humble way and you don't have a lot of opportunities with women. And then all of a sudden, you got a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, right. You grow up in the valley. It's not like growing up in Hollywood, right?
Listen, I grew up in the valley. I worked construction in the valley. It was a full-blown sausage fest, man. I never saw a woman, no woman. I drove a pickup truck. I got nothing, no money, no game, no nothing. And then at some point, I'm on MTV every night for an hour. And now it's different.
Yeah.
And you go out of town and you walk into a bar and you're on the TV.
Yeah.
I would be on the TV of the bars I would go to. If I went to a strip club,
That's badass.
I would go to a strip club and the strip clubs would just put it on MTV because why? They're not going to put it on CNN and they're not going to put it on Fox. The strip club's default channel was MTV because you just see
Music
Billy
videos.
Idol videos and
Yeah,
David Lee
right.
Roth videos while the chick was dancing on stage. Like it was mindless. It was like having an
Yeah.
aquarium.
You'd have to position yourself near the TV now.
Adam Carolla.
I didn't have to do anything. I would just walk in and look up and go, oh, there I am.
That's
That's
me.
me. And then next thing you know, a couple of chicks sitting next to you.
That's right.
Right. But then you get a little older and you lose the will to live. And that'll slow
Is that
your
what
roll.
it is?
Yeah, it's not that you learn anything morally. It's not that you have a change of heart. It's not that you realize cheating is bad or any of this is bad. You just get tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you're not there
But I'm
yet.
not losing my soul, am I?
No,
I'm only
no.
28 years old, man.
No, you're not losing. No, you lose your will to live at a certain point, and you just want to get along.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It's just right now. There's so much things going on in the works that I need to stay focused, man. All these things. I need to just laser focus.
Focused on comedy.
And I'm trying to get lost in the acting game. So
How's that going?
I'm taking my acting classes. I had a few auditions and a few I have a few meetings with some production companies and some directors in the next few weeks. That should be fun. But yeah, that's the route. It looks like that's the route I need to take for now. Is the stand-up will always be there, but as far as acting and getting my own show or something, that's the goal.
Are we thinking like a sitcom?
I'm not sure, man. There's a lot of things I want to do. But yeah, maybe a sitcom. But I'm more. My dream is to do movies. But yeah, right now we're also working on the special. So the 1 hour
Stand-up special.
Yeah, the 1 hour special. So that's
Have
fun.
you filmed it yet?
No. We're gonna perform it at Netflix as a joke on May 4th.
Oh, that's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard the first show at the Regent Theater is sold out.
Both of them sold out. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I don't think we'll be adding another one, but
A third.
yeah, I don't think we'll be adding.
Oh, you don't?
No,
Okay.
no.
Two's enough.
Yeah, two's enough. Especially in LA, man. I do my show once a month at the Laugh Factory.
Mm-hmm.
They always sell out, and it's like LA is like one of my. It's home, obviously. So, but it's like LA is always one of those fun cities to perform at.
Hold on, let me think about that. I feel like it varies. I feel like the Laugh Factory is generally pretty good. The main room at the Comedy Store had some
I
good
just did that one, yeah.
experiences at. The Improv's a little hit and miss.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Melrose Improv kind of can't figure out what crowd is in there on any given night. I think it varies a lot.
It does vary a lot. I guess I've just been spoiled lately.
Well, maybe you're funny.
I'm very funny. No, but I feel like I've been spoiled lately as from my fans. They show up and it's like immigration center in there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
A lot of processing to do. And so you get a little big-headed, you step away from your wife for a little bit, but you realize this isn't the road you want to be on.
No. The people I look up to don't live that kind of life. So I know where I want to be.
And so now you go to Malibu.
Yeah, Malibu to collect my thoughts. It's just I also just like to go there once in a while just to attract that to myself.
Just a what?
Attract that to myself, a house in Malibu or just a house on the beach.
Oh. Yeah, you know what I was thinking about. I was in Mar-a-Lago over at Trump's place last weekend, and I was thinking about that $18 million valuation that the judge from New York gave Mar-a-Lago, which is acres and acres and acres and
wow.
acres and acres. But
What a deal.
when you drive down PCH and the average house on the ocean side is over $18 million, and you get a lot that's less than a quarter acre. You get a lot that's 35 feet wide and 70 feet deep, and that includes being in the ocean. Like you get a box. And when you leave Mar-a-Lago and you just drive back to wherever you're going, you pass houses. They're just houses, but they're amazing, and their view's amazing. And I'm like, every single one of these is over 18 million bucks. But so you believe, I don't mean that in a condescending way, but you leave the friendly confines of Valley Village and you go to Malibu so you can manifest it like Oprah.
Yeah, man. It's just like, you gotta, the big thing is you gotta know how it feels. Like, you gotta know what it tastes like, right? You gotta know what you just gotta attract that to you, man. I know it's more than just attracting it. It's a lot of action. And I feel like, who said it, man? Manifestation without action is just delusion. Right, so it's just so I've always maintained a good balance of I want to feel this, but so I can keep my motivation going. Not get comfortable in Valley Village.
It's easy to get complacent in Valley Village. My entire family lived and died in Valley Village.
They have a new reality show now about women that live in Valley Village.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but my girl was telling me about it. I was like, okay.
Really?
Yeah, it's like those reality TV wives, and they're going to bars in Valley Village. And
What would the show consist of?
Well, be
the
my
shakies
mom
the shakies on Chandler.
friend Norma and her other friend Dorothy, and they'd probably be going. Yeah, they'd go to either the Der Wiener Schnitzel on Laurel, or they might go to the Shakies down on Laurel.
Good lunch deal.
And they might swing by. I don't know if the Schwinn shop is still there.
The Gelsons, maybe the Gelsons.
They'd go to the Lucky's,
I think,
or John's, or whatever.
The Vons, they have a Vons there.
Yeah, whatever the lower discount Valley Village market is. They got a post office over there. Yeah. I don't know if you're off of like Chandler or
Bar Rescue was there for a restaurant next to that. They have a barbecue spot, and then there's a bar right next to it. Is it called Lucky's?
Well, Lucky's.
Lucky's.
No. Lucky's used to be the super. So when I grew up, we had the expensive supermarket. That was Gelson's.
Yeah.
And then we had the supermarket we went to, and that was Lucky's. And the only time I would go to Gelson's is to steal a turkey leg.
Oh.
I would go to the deli section. They got smart with the deli section. They figured it out. Deli sections used to be in the back of the market, right?
Yeah.
And the deli system was a little bit on the honor system. You'd go all the way to the back.
Right.
I'd order a full turkey leg.
Yeah.
They give it to you in a foil bag, and then the guy'd put the note on it, $4.89 or something. And then somewhere between the back and the front, where the exit was, that turkey leg would disappear into my jacket, and I'd walk right out, and I would eat it in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And they realized two things. Now the deli section's up front. You can't, when they hand you stuff, you can't lose yourself in the store with it. I think they realize people steal shit and they're fat. So we got to put the deli section up front for those two reasons. Because it used to be hidden in the back, and then you could steal turkey legs. Yeah. But we wouldn't shop there. I would just steal there.
I love I go there just to manifest again.
You want to live in a Gelson's.
Why don't you go to the Whole Foods in Malibu and really get your manifest on?
No, when I really want to manifest, I go to what's that? Erewhon.
Erewhon.
There you go. That's that place. Damn.
I mean, Dawson, I'm telling you, you got to find a picture of Erewhon in Burbank in like 1974.
I thought that was new.
Erewhon was a hippie hang. It was a hippie, dippy, funky, crunchy, goofy place in the valley that only health food nut weirdos. Because, in 1975, if you're into health food, you're a fucking weirdo. And we knew who you were. Bunch of guys parking, VW vans and stuff out front and stuff. And you just go there.
It wasn't socially acceptable back then.
No, you get weird food, and health food didn't taste good.
Yeah.
They'd have big barrels of carob chips, like big bricks of carob, like broken up carob. Like it was like,
No thanks.
they'd sell carob like you took a roofing, like a ceramic roofing tile, like a Spanish tile, and bashed it once, and whatever shape it broke into, that was the carob in the barrel. And it was weird, and it was funky, and it was run by like hippies, and nobody ever thought it would turn into this.
What it is now.
But it was Erewhon. And I don't even know if they're all around the country or where they started or whatever, but
It's like mainly California.
my hippie-ass mom would leave Valley Village and go to Burbank and go to this funky Erewhon place. And again, it wasn't expensive, it wasn't anything. It was just weirdo health food.
Now it's expensive. You get a water there. It's like, I don't even know
Yeah,
how
it's
much.
upscale. No.
$20 for a water bottle or something.
Yeah, so you can get your vision on there. You can manifest.
I can manifest anywhere, man. I went on a beautiful hike this morning, Adam. I can't remember the last time I went on a good hike. I went on a hike. I saw some guy. He was dressed in his suit. It was a suit, basically. Work clothes, and he was hiking on his work clothes. And
He was hiking in a business suit.
yeah, and he kept going. He wouldn't stop, and I was just like, man, I wanted to stop, and that guy was my motivation the whole trail, man. And he was old. It was very nice. In Malibu, went on a Malibu hike, man.
Oh, you did the Malibu hike.
Yeah, it was Zuma. It was by Zuma, man. I was just like, man, felt good, I was like, man.
And what about the guy? Was the guy's like, why is this Mexican following me? He doesn't belong in this
probably
neighborhood.
thinks I'm like this fucking Indian guy. God dang it. No. And that's another thing too. I'm like, that's another thing I love about living in Valley Village, man. You don't see a lot of my kind out there.
Mexicans?
Yeah. Not in Valley Village.
Oh, well, here's the whole thing.
They're like, they're
deeper.
close.
They're
close.
deeper. They're like San Fernando,
Yeah.
the Poly High.
Yeah.
They got to go deeper. That's
Pacoima,
why the whole
North
reason.
Hollywood, Sun Valley.
The whole reason North Hollywood became that part of it became Valley Village is to not be lumped in with the Mexicans.
Yeah.
Like they're like, we don't, these people are driving
We're Jewish, man.
they're driving the property values down, and let's not confuse us for deep North Hollywood.
No.
Yeah.
I went in there. I dropped the Valley Village, actually. I dropped
They
the
dropped the property values there?
No, because of me, I'm sure.
You got to write down what the name, tell me the name of your street, or just write it down on something, because I literally lived everywhere.
I live on Riverside and Lower Canyon, but it's Radford.
Radford.
Radford
yeah.
and on Riverside and Radford.
Yeah, but near Laurel and Riverside.
Yeah, between Colfax and Lower Canyon.
Yeah.
On Riverside, right by the Colfax Liquor.
The Jack in the Box is there.
Oh yeah, the Jack in the Box is there. The Subway's right there. Starbucks is there. It's pretty cool. I like that, man. It's so calm, bro. You get to walk your
The
dog.
market they filmed. Okay, there used to be a little country market there on that corner, and it was featured in the Mel Gibson movie. Oh God!
What women want.
No, when he
Braveheart.
Now, yeah, he was in the produce
Passion
section.
of the Christ.
Yeah. No, or he was the cop on the edge with Danny
Lethal
Glover. Lethal Weapon. There was a scene. Now Dawson's got to find this. Do you remember this smoking hot blonde from like the 80s who was like Charlize Theron before Charlize Theron? Like she was like South African or maybe English or something. I think she was Canadian. She was something. And he walked in, Patsy Kensit. Yes, thank you. Do you remember her? She was Barbie before Barbie.
She was in Lethal Weapon, yeah.
She was in Lethal Weapon, and he showed up into this Valley Village market thing. And that was the old market that we used to go to. And we'd go to that market because that was the market where you could wait in the parking lot in high school. And if a dude pulled up in an El Camino, you could give him $5 and he would buy you a six-pack and walk it out. That was like cool guy market, you know.
Cool guy market.
Couldn't have got that at Lucky's or Gelson's,
Yeah.
but across the street, yeah. You could, and that's what we do.
It's like the Circus liquor store in North Hollywood, you know, with the big clown.
Yeah.
That's kind of the image that popped in my head. When you're
Circus is where you'd get the kegs
yeah.
back in the day. So you have an interesting story, right? When you're 15, your dad gets incarcerated, right?
Yeah, my dad gets incarcerated, gets sentenced when I'm like, 17. So, yeah, you know, my dad, he's in jail right now, serving 40 years for drug trafficking. And it's been a minute since
Has he followed your career?
That's one of the biggest things that I'm like, man, I wish he was out here just to see exactly. My dad's not, you know, tech savvy, so he's not gonna be on updated or anything like that. It's just pretty much what I tell him, and I don't know. I think for him, I think he just thinks, oh, you know, my son's there, you know, he's having fun doing this, but I don't think he understands the amount of success I've achieved in this game so far in 8 years. So,
Do you go in and visit him?
yeah, I go visit him, send him money. He can tell that it's going well for me by the money I'm sending him, or you know, by the way I'm able to take care of others. But it's still like one of those things where I wish he would see me perform, at least hear my voice perform.
He's got another 25 years in there.
Yeah, we're working on that though. So hopefully
Sooner.
I was on a radio show and I was like, you know, every time I'm explaining this, I get the same reaction, right? I'm always like, yeah, you know, my dad's in jail, you know, hopefully we get him out. And people are like, yeah, man, hopefully, you know, there's a lot of programs out there that can help you out. But I was on the radio show and I was like, yeah, man, you know, we really want to get my dad out, man. He's like, why would you want to do that? I was like, what? I was like, he's my dad, man. Well, isn't he a drug trafficker?
Yeah,
And
well, there's
like,
that.
And I'm like, well, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
that was my only argument that I can come up with on the spot. They're like, what did he do? I'm like, yeah, but you know, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I guess my argument is like, you know, 40 years is a lot, and there's other
With
people
no
that get
parole.
less. Yeah,
No.
he had it was unfair, right?
That's a lot for drugs.
It was also in Arkansas, and
It wasn't out here.
yeah, it was in Arkansas, and the DEA agent was very racist.
Is he there now?
Who?
Your dad. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Is in Arkansas?
No, he's in Victorville now.
But why? Why is he in Victorville?
He was getting transferred everywhere. He was getting transferred. I know from OKC, he was transferred to Kentucky, from Kentucky to Pittsburgh, I believe.
Oh, really?
And then from Pittsburgh, he got transferred to California. I think he was trying to make his way to California because, you know, he didn't like the other places.
Yeah, he's getting closer to you. He's manifesting.
Yeah, he was manifesting in there. But yeah.
That's how it works? You just get busted in Arkansas, and then you just make your way to
no
Cali?
I think he fought his way through. I don't know. I guess for me it was just like, you know, just I hope he gets around here, because it was like that idea of him being in Pittsburgh or Kentucky is like, dude, how are you even gonna get over there to see you? You know, it's like, and he has, you know, but yeah, I feel like the DE agent was very racist. So was the judge too, man. Everyone was racist in Arkansas, right? But it was also just like, not everyone, sorry, Arkansas, but the DEA agent was very aggressive with my dad, and the judge, he had a son that died of an overdose from meth. So he said that to me. He's like, you know, I had a son.
Your dad was selling meth.
Yeah, not like on the corner, but
Yeah.
but yeah, he was like, it was one of those things that the judge was like, you're gonna get 40 on parole because people like you kill people, like my son. And I was like, this is so unfair, man. Well, it was one of the jokes one of my first jokes that went viral was when he got sentenced. My family and I were confused, like, man, how many years is he gonna get? And then my mom texted me like, your dad just got 480 months, and I'm looking at the text like, that's not bad. Hey, what months? We thought he was gonna get years, man. And then it took me a while. I'm like, that's 40 years, dude. That's
Jesus.
40 years. And it's like, and it was just like one of those things where it was like, damn, that's a long time. No chance of parole, 40 years. They were trying to take my brother into. It was crazy. They took the DA when they follow you, they take everything. So
Was he good at keeping it a secret from you?
I think he tried to, but at this point, everyone, we were like, something's going on over there, But, it's your dad, It was one of those things where it's my dad. Like I said, he's one of the sweetest guys I know, But he, to me at least, But like I said, it was just one of those things where, as an immigrant, you come into this country, right, and pretty much all you know is knowing how to cook, right? That was my thing. That was my dad's thing. He loved to cook. He owned a Mexican restaurant in North Hollywood for over 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. Super Tacos Michoacan. It was on Chandler, on Valiant and Chandler, right across the street from the Big Lots.
That's where the railroad tracks are on Chandler.
Right across the street from Big Lots was my dad's restaurant, and he owned that for over 10 years. Like, that was fun. It was fun seeing my dad run that restaurant.
So he was a cook.
Yeah, my dad's a chef. To this day, you talk to him about food recipes, like that's the only thing that would get him going over the phone.
Listen, I got a manifest idea for you.
Yeah.
I think you should tell your dad. He knows you're doing good.
Yeah.
Tell him you're living in Malibu and you're shopping at the Irwan in Malibu. Now, he's not going to be able to check that, right?
He's not gonna be able to
But
check
here's
that.
the manifest thing. Now you're on the clock because whenever he gets out, that's as long as you have to live in Malibu. You see what I mean? When he comes out, he's coming to Malibu to stay with you.
For real.
So what you do is this is a version, Jim Carrey, went up to Mulholland and wrote himself like a check for $1 million or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I had to cash. That's what you do with your dad in Malibu.
Wow.
You tell him
And it
you're
adds on
in
motivation.
Malibu. And when he gets out, he's got an open room to come stay with you in Malibu, and then you're going to be forced to work your ass off and get a place in Malibu before he gets paroled or gets out.
I work the best under pressure, so I think,
that's what I'm saying.
I think, dude.
And by then, they'll build an Irwan in Malibu. So
Dude.
you'll have the Malibu Irwan.
Can't wait till my dad calls me like, Dad, I just got this place in Malibu.
That's right.
He's going to be like, what? He's like, I told you things are going great for me, Dad.
Right. This is good.
This is good.
It'll make him feel good, give him something to get up in the morning for. It'll get a fire under your ass, and it'll get you to manifest out to Malibu.
That's kind of what I did with comedy. I dropped out of college, and I was telling everyone I'm a comedian, whatever, and I didn't even hit the stage yet. But I was like, and I was telling so many people that I was like, fuck, I gotta
Wait,
get
you
on
never
stage.
been on the stage and you're telling people you're a comedian?
Yeah. I was like, I'm a stand-up comedian, man. I had never hit a stage before, but I had told myself, I'm gonna be a comedian for the rest of my life because I knew it was something I can do, and I was just like, I was walking around campus, I'm gonna be a comedian. They're like, so when's your show? I'll let you know.
Were you always funny as a kid?
Yeah.
Was it just something you were doing, like you just couldn't control it almost?
I love making people laugh. It was also a way of making friends. I got kicked out of a lot of schools. I went from Van Nuys Middle School to Fulton Middle School to Byrd Middle School, back to Van Nuys Middle School. Then I went to Van Nuys High School. Then I got kicked out of there. Went to a continuation high school with a bunch of gangsters and pregnant women.
Where was that?
That was also in North Hollywood.
That was behind North Hollywood?
No, in North Hollywood. No, it was a school where they rented out a church. You know the church in North Hollywood where it's like that. We're on Camarillo and Violin. They kind of cross.
Yep.
There's a church right behind the Jersey Mike's, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a small alley.
Oh, so you didn't go. So my sister went to Amelia Earhart, which is what they figured out is somebody went, look, there's a percentage of kids that cannot do high school.
Yeah.
They show up too late. They leave too early. They like smoking. They're not that smart. They don't like studying. And they
gangbangers. They're pregnant.
They're pregnant gangbangers, and they really got nothing to do with high school. And so really what they want to do is go, well, tell them to get the fuck out of here. But they can't do that. So what they do is they go, what if we just fenced off a little back area and we put down a double wide trailer and we'll name it Amelia Earhart, who, by the way, did not possess any of these qualities.
I know.
She was focused. She wasn't pregnant. She was a non-smoker. She probably hit the books pretty hard in order to circumnavigate the earth in a Cessna. But she didn't. They caged off a little place. They gave it a euphemistic title. They put a bungalow down there, and then they put picnic tables. And they said to all the shit students and the gangbangers and the pregnant chicks, look, you may not be able to handle high school as we know it, which is show up at 8 o'clock and don't leave till 3 and do homework. What if you showed up about 11, 11:30, and you could hang out and smoke, and then you leave about 1, and we'll just tell people you kind of went to high school, and then we'll still get paid.
Yeah, with some like-minded
Yeah, you know, some like-minded gangbangers, make some connections,
God.
maybe get pregnant again, share some cigarettes, and just kind of chillax. And you can sit in the bungalow if you want, but if it's too hot, you don't feel like doing math, then go back out and smoke. And then at some point, we'll get to June, and you can all leave and never come back.
That is the perfect description of a continuation school, man. that was exactly.
Oh, but there's no football team or any of that shit. There's nothing. You just sit here, and we'll just kind of watch you, but you do what you want.
Dude, and you know what's crazy about me going to continuation school? I had failed my first semester of high school in Van Nuys High School. So they moved me there. They're like, man, you're ditching, you know, just go.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was a wolf.
I got lucky with the best teacher ever who knew that I was smart. You know, I wasn't one of these kids.
Yeah, how did you get... I went to North Hollywood High. It takes a lot to get thrown out of LA public school.
I was just ditching, and I was hanging around with the bad kids, right? And I just wanted to be cool. And so they're like, look, we can save your high school career, but you got to go to continuation school right now and make up these grades. I got lucky with a teacher that was like, Renee, I know you're smart. Just help me out with these kids and help me tutor them, and I'll pass. And he was giving me A's, so many A's. I stayed there from 9th to 11th grade with all A's. My GPA was almost a 4.0. I was like, this is insane.
Did you do any homework?
I didn't do anything.
That's my point.
We didn't learn anything.
That's my point.
My teacher was just like, just passing me English 7, English 8, English 9. I was like, what the hell? I'm passing all these classes. I even had an honor class. There was no honor in this. I was just like passing everything, and I told myself like, man, with this GPA I can get into college, but I don't know shit. but so I'm like, I told myself for my senior year, I'm like, I'm getting out of here and I'm putting myself in a magnet school. So I did a complete 180, man, and I went from that continuous school and I got into Daniel Pearl Magnet High School, right by Birmingham. It was the magnet school. It was a magnet school for journalism and communication. So I went from pregnant women and gangbangers to nerds playing Yu-Gi-Oh at lunch.
Wow.
and just like adjusting myself to this crowd and actually taking real honors and APs, and I was still able to get A's and B's there. So I was like, oh, I can do this. And I got into UC Merced, which is the easiest UC to get into at the time. And it probably still is. But I was just like, that's for me. I was like, thank God for that continuation school, because UC only looks at 10th and 11th grade. And I had straight A's. So my UC GPA was amazing.
You had straight A's even though you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything. And then my dad goes to jail, sentenced for 40 years at senior year. So I have the best essay ever to submit.
Yeah, dad's in jail.
My dad's in jail for drug trafficking, and I was a gardener.
I had a friend, North Hollywood High also had bungalows set up for the loser students who didn't want to do anything, and he would just sit in the bungalow all day, not do anything, and then they'd take his report card and they'd circulate it to all the classes he should have been in the main building, and they'd all just like draw a line through it and then just hand him back the thing. It's like, when people say warehousing, you don't think of literally sitting in a warehouse. That they meant warehousing.
Yeah.
They were like, look, you're not interested in learning. We're not interested in teaching. Fine. But we need your ass here half the time so we can get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll just, whatever works for you, come do this, sit down, do whatever the fuck you want, and we'll get paid, and then you'll get the fuck out of here.
And they always found the perfect teacher for these students, which is always crazy to me. I was like, it takes a special teacher to handle these classes. Like, it really does. Like,
They even take a special teacher to give a guy A's who's never done any homework or classwork.
no, like, there'll be fights in these schools, like, and there, it was.
Well, you had a more probably dangerous. The version that I'm talking about is sort of. I'm talking about the burnouts.
Yeah,
the guys just like, I'm not into reading or homework, or I'm pregnant, or I want to smoke.
I had the majority of the class were kids that were in placement homes.
Acting out.
Yeah, so they were like, they just got out of juvie. They can't go home yet, so they're at a placement home, and this is their school. So it was like, we had definitely some interesting characters in that school.
All right, let's take a break. I want to hit some news with you, Renee.
Yeah.
And we'll do that right after this. Here's a question. Want better sex? Yes. Best way to get started is to go to adamandeve.com. Do it right now. 50% off just about any item, plus free shipping, including rush processing. Doesn't matter how much you spend or what you buy. All will be packaged and sent directly, free and fast. That's 50% off one item, free shipping with free rush processing. Just go to adamandeve.com, select any one item, and enter the offer code ACE at checkout. That's ACE at adamandeve.com. Am I right, Dawson?
This is an exclusive offer to this podcast, so be sure to use the code ACE to get your discount. 100% free shipping, and get it fast with rush processing. Code ACE.
Women, now they're using crazy-ass words like, you're a f***ing narcissist. They didn't even go to school. This bitch went to continuation school. Like, you didn't learn that word nowhere. Like, where'd you learn that? You're a narcissist. She can't even say narcissist. I saw on TikTok, you have all the symptoms. And you're gaslighting me. You're a gaslighter. A gaslighter, bitch? I pay the bills here. I pay the bills. I can light the gas as much as I want. I don't give a f***. I'll gaslight this whole house.
Rene Vaca is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Renee has got dates in Sacramento and Philly and New Jersey, and what you can do for all the dates is go to Renee, RENE Vaca, VACA.net, and find out all live dates. All right, let's do a little news.
Yeah, so a major bridge in Baltimore partially collapsed overnight after it was hit by a cargo ship.
Mm-hmm.
It was called the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and yeah, and there was a construction crew on the bridge, working on potholes. So there are at least 6 people who are feared to have went into the river right now. 6 people are still in there. 2 were rescued.
Yeah.
Why are they still in there?
They're dead.
Yeah, they can't find
I would say. But God bless them. They died fixing potholes. I wish more Americans would die fixing potholes.
So this cargo ship, I mean, it had a Mayday call because it had a crazy malfunction. If you watch the video, you could see the lights going off and coming back on. So it lost control. They called Mayday.
Is this it?
Yeah, this is it.
It was perfect storm, too, because it's 1:30 in the morning. Like, you really can't see anything, you know?
So the ship's crew sent out a Mayday distress call, and there were workers on the bridge who kept vehicles off.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. So that's why it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
worse than 8 people.
Well, listen, according to the Ring doorbell I'm looking at, they stopped cars moments before this thing hit.
Yeah.
Because their cars buzzing by seconds before this thing went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this is crazy.
Fast action from the ship's crew and the workers on the bridge. To
You know
stop
what I
the
was
traffic.
thinking about? There's some asshole in Sacramento. I think his last name is Wiener or something, but he's one of these career politician guys. One of the guys with all the rules, and he's got a bill going around.
Scott Wiener in San
Scott
Francisco.
Wiener. Yeah, he's going, I don't want cars to be able to go faster than 10 miles an hour faster than the posted speed limit. By the way, the people that are who never stop talking about freedom are always the ones trying to get your freedom away from you. Can you imagine if that asshole passed the thing and you're on this bridge and it's like collapsing behind you and you floor it and something comes up on the dash? Scott Wiener said no. No. You're looking in your rear view and you're seeing the fucking thing collapsing behind you, but the posted speed is 35 on the bridge and you got your foot mashed and the engine just revving.
No.
Oh, that was time-lapse footage. But
That was crazy. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
But it's still, some of those cars couldn't have missed it by more than, well, it says time-lapse footage, but some of those cars couldn't have missed it by a minute or less, I think.
Do you think people that died, do you think they deserve that, man?
Yes.
I'm gonna disagree with you, Adam.
I'm gonna say no. No, I do not think they deserve it.
Like have you seen like the movie Devil, when it's like the people trapped in the elevator and they all died, but all these people deserve because they all did something bad?
Well, these guys were fixing potholes.
Yeah.
What
You figure something happened. They must have done something
I don't know.
in a previous life.
I don't know.
You have a very interesting relationship with fate. Your dad deals meth.
Yeah.
You don't want him out. This guy fixes a pothole and he deserves to die.
Yeah.
That's an interesting,
It's an
relationship. It's an interesting dance you do with morality over there, Renee. I got news for you.
You gotta have fun.
I agree with that at least. Yeah, crazy. So Joe Biden says he intends to ask Congress to fund the bridge's reconstruction. Said all resources are being made available to assist in the response to the incident, and he plans to visit Baltimore in the coming days.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll fix it.
Yeah. Speaking of rules,
It's the first time anyone said, I have plans to visit Baltimore. I've heard a lot of people go, I got to go to Baltimore to take care of some shit, okay?
yeah. Or I got to get out of Baltimore.
I got to get out of Baltimore. No one's ever uttered the phrase, I got plans to visit Baltimore. They've got, my brother-in-law owes me some fucking money and he's in Baltimore. That's all they got.
That's true, yeah.
Or I'm speeding through Baltimore, but no one ever plans a visit.
I know. Baltimore Tourism Board is very excited.
Have you ever performed in Baltimore?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, outside of Baltimore. Timonium. I was looking for it on the plug thing, but it's right at the bottom of the...
Comedy Club.
Magooby's.
That's what I did.
Awesome.
I did it.
There's one below the Netflix thing, I think, that used to be on there. I looked at it earlier today, and it said Magooby's.
There it is. There you go.
There, it's funny that I looked at the screen. I was like, oh, it's not there. Yeah, Magooby's.
May 31st and June 1st.
There you go.
You gotta go.
Yeah, I'm going to visit Baltimore.
You're gonna
I'm going to Magooby's.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of rules, so there's a new NFL kickoff rule that's just approved.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So league owners just voted on this. What's going to happen is 10 players in the kicking team, at least 9 players on the receiving team will line up just 5 yards apart and won't begin running until the ball gets gets back to the returner. Very similar to the XFL, what they do. So they're not going full speed at the receiver. The kicker will kick from the 35-yard line, and the ball must land between the 20-yard line and the goal line. If it goes out of bounds or lands short of the 20, then the receiving team gets it at the 40.
All right, hold on a second.
Wow.
You say goes out of bounds, but you mean out of the end zone.
Right.
Because out of bounds, they'd get penalized for anyway.
Right.
Now, so if you kick it out of the back of the end zone, well, that means we could all potentially be kickers now. Because there's a lot of dudes in high school who could kick a ball and land it somewhere between the 20 and the goal line.
Sorry, end zone is 30 yard. It will go to the 30-yard line. End zone or touchback. If it goes past the end zone or the 30, or a touchback, it goes to the 30. If it goes out of bounds or before the 20, then it's a 40-yard.
Or before the 20.
Yeah.
You know what I never really got? If I had an NFL team, and I always thought about this with punters, and it's stupid, it doesn't make sense, but think about it for a second. They do that thing where the guy, he's punting from his 35-yard line. Oh, it goes into the end zone. You know what I mean? Or he kicked it. And go,
Every time.
I'd go, listen, I got this football team. This guy who has a bionic leg, he can kick the ball 65 yards in the air. But I don't want that guy's leg on the field when we're trying to pooch it down inside the 10. I just want to find out who's kicking it as hard as they can and can only get it 30 yards. You go nuts. You know what I mean? Like you don't need any marching orders. Kick the shit out of that ball.
Just go.
Take a full swing because you can't get it out of the infield.
Yeah.
There's got to be guys who just consistently could punt the ball and can't do any better than 35 yards.
Yeah.
I would put them
Hey,
in
Rich,
that situation.
Maybe not go to the gym today. Let's just stay status quo here,
man.
No leg day today.
5 yards away, they're going to line up. Did you say?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're just trying to make this part of the game more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, it'll look weird.
They're trying to not get people hurt and have returns and that. And nothing less satisfying than just kicking out of the back of the end zone.
Bill Belichick would love this.
You know what this is going to do, and I'll tell you. When I was playing over at North Hollywood High, our kicker, Leonard Ishu, the only decent play I ever made in the 10th grade is I was on the kickoff team, and he had a move. This guy was a soccer player. He could kick a ball right at a dude, and it would always just bounce right off his chest and come right back to us. Like
Wow.
if you're going to stand 5 yards away from somebody, and somebody's got a good leg, they can nail you with that ball. And when they nail you with the ball, it'll bounce. I caught it out of the air.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah, people do that in basketball when they're out of bounds, like they bounce it off guys all the time. Yeah. So there are all these loopholes. So this rule will be a 1-year trial. We'll see how it goes.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah,
it's not gonna last.
You don't think so?
Not gonna last.
No.
So
it's not, man. Football, man. I don't know, but I guess it's for the safety of the athletes.
Yeah, you don't.
It's gonna last. It's definitely gonna last. Then if it's for the safety of the athletes.
So if you're looking to find a place in Malibu, there's actually another way you could manifest getting a house there, and that's squatting at a place, because there's a crazy squatting crisis going on in California, in New York. I don't know if you've been seeing like all the stories, like owners are changing locks. In New York, like vigilantes tried to get these squatters out of the house, and the owner tried to change the locks, and she got arrested. There's all these weird things happening. There's a place by LeBron's house that people have been squatting and throwing crazy house parties there, just finding all these loopholes to live there. So, and there's actually now a squatting squad, they call them, the squatter squad, that are finding legal ways to get these squatters out. You hire them for like $1,500, and they can actually get squatters out of your house legally.
These are people that originally lived there, and then they couldn't pay anymore, right?
It's all different ways, but basically if you just make that place your home, either I don't know how you actually get in, but it's and you stay there for a certain number of days, then you're entitled to rights.
That's great.
Yeah. California, all the blue places have this sort of plan of taking it easy on criminals, but what they don't realize is criminals don't take it easy on us. They just exploit whatever loopholes there are. I mean, I had a warehouse and I rented it out to a guy, and he didn't pay rent for like 6 months, and he owed me like $50,000. And like the number one answer is, there's nothing you can do. Like there's just, if you're the owner, if it's your shit, if it whatever it is, you got less rights than the people who are stealing from you.
Yeah.
And so this is probably going to be a bunch of blue cities, because what they try to do is they go, well, let's be compassionate to people, but they don't really realize it's like when AOC would go, hey, what's wrong? So a mother steals a loaf of bread to feed her. They're looting the Apple store at the Grove, you crazy bitch. They're not stealing a loaf of bread. Like, you have some sort of thing where it's like, these are previously housed people that are down on their luck. No, these guys are throwing raves.
Yeah.
Like, we have this noble version of criminals where it's like, well, they need a hand up because maybe life circumstances.
They were given a bad hand.
Dealt them a bad hand. It's like, no, just people who exploit fucking people like you who make bad policies. That's what we're dealing with. Some people might not have a choice of whether they need to steal a catalytic converter. It's like, no. These are people that don't want to work, who want money, and they want to exploit. It's all exploit. Exploit, take advantage of, exploit.
Yeah, I mean, people. There's bad people, man, and a lot of people, especially when you're, of color. You want to. You feel like there's a need to defend. Your people, but you gotta admit, there's bad people, man. There's some bad people in your culture. I mean, in your race, and you don't need to feel like that need to defend it. Like like if there's a little Mexican kid that got, that was shooting up people. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some people like, oh, they're just shooting him like this because Latino. Like, or it could just be like this motherfucker was crazy. This motherfucker was just literally crazy. But I never understood that when people put so much pride into something that has nothing to do with it.
You're talking about race?
No, or it could just be like, man, you see, like, just like when people take a big stand for something, and it's just like, dude, this has nothing to do with your life. Your life.
You look at it as like a case-by-case basis. You don't want to give it like a big umbrella for the reasoning. Well, actually, so DeSantis signed a bill into law saying that Florida is removing squatters' rights immediately.
Well, everybody who's in a law and order, a town, city, state is going to have this. Like, really, here's what it is. Here's where we're going to hell in the handbasket. They go, you go, this guy squatted this woman's house. This woman showed up with the deed and changed the locks. The guy squatted the house, called the cops, and the cops arrested the homeowner, right?
That's what happened.
And then they go
in New York.
And then they go, oh, this definitely happened in one of these fucked up blue cities, But it's the same story where they go, this guy's daughter was transitioning, and the school board didn't tell the dad that the daughter was transitioning. And when the dad went in to talk to the principal about it, they arrested the dad. It's like, it's all ass backwards land shit. That's where we're living now. The bluer it is, the more progressive it is, the more insane. It's like, this guy was breaking into that guy's house. Then the guy whose house it was woke up and shot him, and they arrested the guy who owned the house and not the... Remember, the guy who held the guy who was terrorizing everybody on the subway in New York, the Marine, that guy's facing charges.
Yeah.
Not the guy who shot the guy recently on the thing, who took his gun away and just shot the guy with it. He's gone. He's got no problems. He's fine. The guy who held the other guy who was menacing everyone and threatening their life, that guy's in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's just backwards land.
That guy needs to manifest.
He should have manifested something.
Manifested something there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you hear about the Ruth Bader Ginsburg Awards?
No.
Last week? So they have the RBG.
For worst basketball player? There should be some for the worst in their sport.
Yeah.
The worst guy, the worst player in the NCAA
they
finals.
Should be acknowledged.
Should get the Ruth Bader Ginsburg Award.
Well, they actually they were holding a gala, and they were set to be giving the awards to Elon Musk, Rupert Murdoch, and then and a few other people as well. Sylvester Stallone, one of them, and Martha Stewart. So, but they canceled it. Yeah, Barbara Streisand, who was awarded the award last year, and the late justice's family denounced the organization over this year's recipients.
Well, Elon, I love that Elon Musk is being villainized now. Everyone's so fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Because he bought X or Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
And now he wants freedom of speech. And anyway, everyone's a fucking idiot. Also, we don't realize the value-added people. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Elon, you don't like his bedside manner when he's on Twitter, but he's doing a lot of good things.
Yeah.
So fucking give him a break, would you? Please, everybody who's
I love Elon.
Paying a lot of taxes and fixing a lot of problems. But Rupert Murdoch, he's Fox, right?
Yeah.
So they can't, Rupert Murdoch, and they're not going to stand still and let somebody from Fox and Elon get an award.
Right.
So that's not going to work for them. Now, why they get a vote, I have no fucking idea. I just, sometimes, what I'm saying is they're very progressive people who are going to speak on lesbian theory, and they're going to come to your college. I would choose not to go to the event. Not my deal, not my scene. Not interested. I'd probably think she was full of shit. I would just not attend. But then when Ben Shapiro shows up, we got to shut him down. And my old thing is just let whoever...
Just don't attend.
Just don't attend. Give Elon an award. Barbara, you stay in Malibu because you've manifested the shit out of that place.
There you go.
And he'll go somewhere else and he'll get an award.
Yeah, so Barbara wrote that I joined the Ginsburg family in condemning the choice of honorees this year. I had the privilege...
Oh, the Ginsburg family.
I had the privilege of meeting Justice Ginsburg on several occasions, and I strongly doubt she would approve of these awardees. And then the family wrote that, quote, we wish to make it clear that we do not support using our mother's name to celebrate this year's slate of awardees, and that the Justice's family has no affiliation with these awards. So maybe it's the Amelia Earhart School of Awards.
Oh,
I don't know.
Just look, everybody, Babs. That's what we call Barbara Streisand. Babs.
She's in Malibu, right?
I hope you're sitting down. There's somebody out there that you may disagree with, but guess what? They disagree with your crazy ass too. You ever think of it that way? Like, it's not all just a one-way street. I bet you Elon Musk thinks you're a fucking dingbat. I bet Elon Musk thinks Barbara Streisand is an idiot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this thing where it's like, it's a two-way street. The other people think you're an idiot and you're dangerous and you're making bad ideas and bad policies. You understand? It's not just one way.
Yeah.
It's like Elon Musk, him and Tucker Carlson are just trying to destroy the country. No, they think your ideas are destroying the country. You get it?
Yeah. Come on, Babs.
Come on, Babs.
This, man. Some people think I'm funny and some people think I'm not.
Who are those people? I'll manifest the shit out of them.
I'll manifest them.
If you have followers on Instagram that are younger than the age of 14 in Florida, you might be losing them because Ron DeSantis just signed a bill that he's banning kids in Florida to have social media. What do you think about that? I mean, we've talked about what it does to minds of kids.
I have some kids that they follow me and they're like, man, I can't wait till I'm old enough to go to your shows. I'm like, damn. They're like 16, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Some are like 15. I've had kids come up to me with their parents like, oh, my son loves you. I'm like, why are you letting your son watch my shit? It's cool, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen parents bring kids to comedy shows. Maybe when they just turn 18,
I brought my little brother on stage to do stand-up comedy, and I didn't even tell him to write anything. I'm going to bring you up. And he went up there, and he told a good story, and... He was a natural.
How old is he?
My little brother right now is 13.
Really?
Yeah.
You brought him up on stage.
I have a video of it actually. It's on my Instagram.
And you told him to tell a funny story?
Yeah. So he goes up there and he tells a story. He's like, so my little brother, I play Mortal Kombat with him, and every time I'm playing with him, he's always like, oh man, I beat your ass, and then but then every time I win, he gets mad at me. He's just like, man. Oh, he was just telling that whole story of us playing Mortal Kombat and me getting mad at him. And I'm like, man, I beat your ass. And I'm just like, dude, what the hell? I'm your little brother, man. And it just got like a big laugh of just like, he's
good for him.
Natural. He was a natural kid, man. But yeah, I bring my little brother around. My parents, they let me watch Freddy Krueger. They would let me watch Chucky. They let me watch everything, man. Like, my parents never filtered me from life. And I think that's
shit. You got a front row seat to life with your dad being hauled off at 15.
It was one of those. It was a great childhood, man.
No filter.
Yeah, no Leprechaun, Chucky.
All the classics. All the weird puppet movies.
Yeah.
Troll.
Boys in the Hood, Don't Be a Menace.
The classic comedy as well.
Yeah.
While drinking gin and juice.
Drinking juice in the hood.
While drinking juice in the hood. Yeah. So. It's not going to hurt the kids, you know what I'm saying, to not have social media.
Right.
It's not going to hurt. They'll probably end up doing better.
I like this.
I like it too.
Yeah. I mean,
I need some rules.
I foresee some tantrums.
Yeah,
taking away these accounts. But what it's doing to the minds of kids and their social anxieties and depression and all that. It's crazy.
The kids are getting older, bro. My little brother just asked me the other day. He's 13 years old. He has a girlfriend, and he asked me the other day for $200 to take his girlfriend out on a date to Mastro's
in Malibu.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's manifesting Mastros in Malibu.
I don't know.
Good
Imagine
taste.
Two 13-year-olds.
The one on the west side or the one in Malibu?
I'm thinking Beverly Hills or something.
Okay.
But just imagine two 13-year-olds in Mastros. And $200 not even enough, you dumbass.
Well, and plus you got a $60 Uber ride.
Yeah.
When I first got a job and I saved up to finally go to a sit-down restaurant, me and my buddy, we got our jobs and we're like, let's go to a nice dinner. We went to Olive Garden. And just sat down, had a waiter for once, and we're just like, it was one of the best dinners of my life.
You see, growing up, Mexican, our idea for a nice graduation, like if one of us just graduated middle school, Sizzler was the spot, or Denny's was the spot, and you weren't the only one. There was a lot of people that are celebrating their graduate. Like I remember one day, Mom was so broke. Well, my aunt graduated middle school. She took us to Burger King. Off the dollar menu. We were just there, and I was so embarrassed at the time. I was like, what the hell? We're in cap and gowns over here at Burger King. And then another
you're
family,
gonna be working there
another
next.
family walks in the same way. And I just felt worse for them. I was like, what the hell, man? This is sad. This is
feel
very
bad for
sad.
them, yeah.
I was like, we're going to manifest somewhere else.
All right. Bradley Tusk is out there. He's a venture capitalist, political strategist. He's a writer, and he's got all kinds of insights. Rene Vaca, let me give you a plug and tell people that you can go to renevaca.net for all the live shows and all the touring events and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And look for that stand-up special coming out soon.
Yes.
Where might we find that?
Can't say yet much about that, but it's gonna. I'm running it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be one of those. I think it's gonna be one of those fun specials, man. You know, it's not gonna be me standing still on stage or anything. I'm gonna be moving around. There's gonna be act outs. It's gonna be fun, man.
Good to see you, my brother. Come back whenever you want to manifest it.
Hell yeah, man. I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated when I get my Malibu home. When my dad. Next time, maybe I'll bring my dad in here.
Bradley Tusk, right after this.
You're about to hear a preview of The Jordan Harbinger Show with iconic musician and producer Moby. It's a super real conversation about fame and mental health. Moby was really open on this one.
My first punk rock show was to an audience of one dog, and my first electronic music show was to Miles Davis. 1999, I thought that my career had ended. My mom had died of cancer. I was battling substance abuse problems. I was battling panic attacks. I'd lost my record deal, and I was making this one last album. And I was like, okay, I'll make this album. I'll put it out. I'll move back to Connecticut. I'll get a job teaching philosophy at some community college. And then all of a sudden, the world embraced me. I handled fame and wealth really disastrously. It was so humiliating. I wouldn't trade any of it.
For more from Moby, including how he bounced back from a 400 drink per month booze habit, check out episode 196 of The Jordan Harbinger Show.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hi, Guy. So I'm cruising down the I-5 corridor up here in Southern Oregon. I see one of those electric highway signs that says, "Put the brakes on human trafficking." Now, I don't know how big the human trafficking problem is here in Jackson County, Oregon. I don't know, maybe they're bringing some junky bitches down from Seattle to L.A., and they're going to see that sign and what, pull over? You know, you're right, you should not do this. Pull over, dump them off here in Southern Oregon. I don't know, but there you go. We need to put the brakes on it. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Bradley Tusk is joining us. He's a venture capitalist, political strategist, and a writer as well. The book is called Obvious and Hindsight, and it's available wherever you find books. Bradley, good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I know the book, and I know you worked for, oh God, was it Uber?
Andrew Yang.
Yeah, I know you work
Bloomberg.
for all these people, but the flying car was the part that I was sort of interested in.
Yeah, totally. The novel, I wrote a novel, came out in November called Obvious in Hindsight, like you said. And it's about a campaign to legalize flying cars in New York, LA, and Austin. On one side of the fight is the flying car startup and their vicious political consultants. And the other side is Uber and Taxi United against it, the socialists, the trans unions, the Audubon Society, and the Russian mob.
So we've been talking about the flying car for quite some time. And I, who have a sort of a faux engineering background, I just know how to build stuff all the time. I just kept saying, we're a long ways off of this. And everyone kept saying, we're right around the corner. But they've been saying that for about 10 years, maybe more. I don't know how it's going to work. I can't picture it. The electric version of it doesn't seem like it's going to work. But you tell me, where are we with the flying car?
Yeah, so look, it does exist, but basically it's an electric helicopter. So one of the problems with helicopters is they're really loud and it pisses everyone off who lives right above the flight path. So by being electric, you solve that one problem. But other than that, it's still not the Jetsons, like hop out your window, you're in a flying car, take it to Denny's or whatever it is, and then take it home. It's not that at all yet. But at least some of the basic concepts are now there. The FAA has certified some of them as flight worthy. But, even once the technology is there, building the infrastructure where these things can take off and land is going to actually be the real fight, and that's going to be brutal.
Yeah, I think we got a little over our skis with the electric cars as well, because the infrastructure part, I have an electric car and it's an Audi, and there's one place nearish by in Malibu that you can charge it at, and they're all in out of service, or there's a long line. Like, it's not there. The infrastructure is not there yet, but I don't know if it will be. I'm trying to figure out, like in California of all places, I feel like we're supposed to be the tip of the spear for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it probably will be eventually, because when the federal government did the infrastructure bill and the Inflation Reduction Act a couple of years ago, they put in a ton of money for nationwide charging networks. And also, Elon and Tesla have invested a lot of money, and they've got a pretty good network themselves. You have to have a Tesla to use it, but he can convert that to allow other cars to use it as well. So as soon as it becomes economically, a good idea for him, I'm sure he'll do that. So, but I agree with you. I used to have a Tesla, and I thought it was easy to charge, and then I switched to a different one and different electric car, and now I barely use it because I never know where I'm going to run out of gas or juice or whatever.
Yeah, power. Or fuel. Yeah, it'd be nice if they talked to Elon and got him to convert some of those Tesla ones, because I'll go to places and there'll be like 28 Tesla chargers, but not for me and my Audi. And their network seems pretty robust, but if you don't have a Tesla, it can get a little dicey out there.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, this guy, for all of his craziness, it is pretty brilliant, because he controls something like over 50% of the satellites. And then imagine that we all have electric cars and he controls, call it 50+% of the charging network. Like, we are totally reliant on this one dude. And like, he could turn stuff on or off and have a huge impact on our lives.
Yeah, I know people throw a lot of shade toward him. I like him, and I feel the same way about him as I feel about a lot of people, where they go, oh, that guy's a dick or something. And I go, I don't really care if he's a good surgeon or a good pilot or good whatever. I'm fine with it. And I know it's become very popular to hate Elon Musk, but I like his contributions, and I don't even hate him. And by the way, I thought this is what geniuses were supposed to act like. You want them to be normal?
Right. Would we all rather have Steve Jobs be like our best friend and not have an iPhone? No, we'd rather have an iPhone. Yeah. Look, Musk makes good cars, good satellites. Seems like he makes good rocket ships. That's what matters to society. The rest of the stuff, to me, is just noise.
I agree. And I was just watching Kara Swisher on Bill Maher's show explain what an asshole he was. And I'm like, shut up, bitch. You don't contribute shit. You sit and complain all day into a microphone. That's what you do. He actually makes shit that benefits humanity. So, okay, you don't like him. So be it. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, listen, Henry Ford was an anti-Semite, and Henry Ford built the Willow Run and made bombers for the U.S. and then had Lindbergh, the other anti-Semite, test his aircraft so we could bomb Nazi Germany. So, okay, he was an anti-Semite who made a bunch of equipment that bombed Hitler. So, okay, good. And then what did you do, Kara Swisher? You sat and commented on everything. That's not doing anything. There'll always be a special place in my heart for Kara Swisher, though, because she did this interview with Gavin Newsom, which is the greatest exposure of Gavin Newsom. I mean, I don't know what you think about Gavin Newsom. I think there's something wrong with him. I've interviewed him before. There's definitely something missing. There's something wrong. It's not like, oh, he's a mean guy, or he's a bad guy, or he's a smart guy.
You think he has like people tied up in his basement kind of weird?
No, he has a problem in that when I was asking him some basic questions and he couldn't answer the basic questions, and the way he was answering them was nonsensical, and he. You know, when I was asking him about the traffic problem in L.A. and how bad it is and what it is that we might do to, like, try to alleviate some of this traffic, maybe the flying car, but I said, well, you know, what can we do? And he goes, you know, I saw a billboard the other day. It said, you're not in traffic, you are traffic. And then he started laughing and then changed the subject. And I'm like, that's not really an answer to my question.
He's answering the question that he wants to answer. That's like, you know, politics 101.
Well,
it didn't work on you because usually people would sort of accept it, move on to the next question. You actually noticed it.
I did notice it, but Kara Swisher noticed it too when she was interviewing him. We have it somewhere. And when I say something wrong with him, I don't really even mean that as a pejorative, although I'm sure I do think I do not like him, but I just mean there's something missing. He's not a politician that can roll with questions, or maybe he's figured it out, but we'll play the Kara Swisher thing and tell me.
Keep in mind, so I've worked a lot of my career in politics. I've worked in city government, state government, federal government, executive branch, legislative branch. You know, most people who run for office are desperately self-loathing, insecure people that can't live without the validation of holding office. That's why they run for office. It fills this hole in their psyche. And the reason why they will never, ever do what's right or what's good for the public ahead of what's better for them politically is because the thought of losing this thing that fills that hole is inconceivable to them, right? So they're never, ever going to put what's right, regardless of what your views are, ahead of what helps them in their next election, in their next primary. And that's probably true for Gavin, but, you know, it's true for pretty much all of them. It wasn't true for Mike Bloomberg. I was his campaign manager, ran for mayor of New York. Mike was different, but in many ways, to me, the exception proves the rule.
No, you have to agree with what you just said, because it's the only explanation. Do we have that clip anywhere? Or, well, put it on the screen if you got it, Byron. Yeah? Okay. I'll play this clip just...
Okay.
Sorry, I always sit here, ask for something, and everyone looks at me, but I don't know if we have it or not. But we have.
Brown said it best. Where the hell are you going to go?
All right, go back. Remember.
Former Governor Brown.
All right, there we go.
Former Governor Brown said it best. Where the hell are you going to go? And, you know, I love Texas. Don't get me wrong.
Is that the new California motto? Where the hell are you going to go?
I don't know, but he said it. But it was an interesting point.
All right, stop it there. That's the first piece of insanity. I'm going to quote somebody, and then you go, oh, is that your feeling? And you go, I don't know. He said it. That's a bizarre statement. It's a bizarre.
All right,
now he separated himself from
separated himself from a quote that he likes to use. I mean, just listen to the insanity. Started from the beginning and listen to the insanity of the first thing.
Former Governor Brown said it best. Where the hell are you going to go? And, you know, I love Texas. Don't get me wrong.
Is that the new California motto? Where the hell are you going to go?
I don't know, but he said it. But it was an interesting point, because where are you going to get so many of the other things in the balance sheet.
But you are aware that I've lived there for 2 decades, essentially, and this is the first time I've had people really talking about not being there and not that they could figure it out somewhere else. I don't think that's true. I think they can figure out where they're going to go.
Yeah, and then that means, but it's not a zero-sum game.
Right.
Okay, I have a friend who just went to Utah. Beautiful. It may be the right thing for him. They've made a ton of money. They have the ability to take their kids out of public school into private school, and they're doing that. And, I imagine they're not going to turn their back forever on California.
All right, so let me give you an example of someone who left or are enjoying themselves. There's something wrong with him, Bradley, is what I'm saying. Did you hear the way he answered that?
Yeah, I wonder if it's this, which is if you don't have a good answer to the actual question itself, you just try to pivot to something kind of nonsensical. And the reality is a lot of people are leaving places like California and New York because it's challenging to live there. The taxes are really high. The regulatory climate is challenging. Quality of life in places like San Francisco and parts of LA and New York City right now are pretty low. And ultimately, cities and states are a value proposition. And when the value proposition isn't high enough, people go somewhere else. And if you're the governor, you're the guy in charge of the state and people are leaving it, maybe his view is, look, I can't really defend the reality of it. So I'll just sort of pivot to this one dude in Utah and hopefully no one will notice.
I'm going to pivot to an example of somebody leaving my state. That's what he pivoted to.
I think what he tried to do was sort of subtly impugn the morality of that person. Like they're rich and they're putting their kid in private school and therefore they're not really good people.
Yeah.
And good people would stay here and suffer.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what he was trying to get across.
I hope so. Because that guy, there's just something wrong with him. That's the only way I can describe him. But I know it because he came in here for an hour. So I got a up close look at him. But so the question that I was talking to Mike August about when he was talking about you is, New York, and you know this better than almost anyone, New York was able to sort of turn it around and figure it out and realize that they were going a certain direction and they wanted to change direction. They were able to do it. And California and LA never seemed to do that. We had a chance to vote in a mayor named Rick Caruso, who's, does the Grove and is more business oriented and said he was going to clean up homelessness and get sanitation workers and stuff like that. And we didn't do that. We got Karen Bass. It was just sort of more the same. We tried to get rid of Gavin Newsom. We couldn't do it. It's just more Gavin Newsom. Like, is there something unique about California or Los Angeles where we're unable or refuse to somehow turn things around?
Your system is kind of a mess, right? So when people who don't live in LA think of LA, all the things we see on TV, we lump into one place and assume it's the same city. But as you know, that's not actually true, right? Santa Monica is a different city. Beverly Hills is a different city. All of these places have different leaders, different government, different cops, different everything. So one is, just the mayor of LA is not really the mayor of LA as we like to think of it. The mayor of LA is the mayor of parts of LA. Two, you have a really weak mayoralty, right? So one of the good things that we have here in New York City is if you made a pie chart of power in New York City government, the mayor's got like 90+% of it. And so whatever the mayor chooses to do, you might have a good mayor that can get things done or a bad mayor that can't. But either way, they at least have the opportunity to do so. LA is a weak mayor system. Powerful council members who answer typically to kind of the far left voters in their primaries and their districts. And so the power is so diffuse in LA that I think it's really hard to be effective. And that's at least one of your many problems.
Now I feel better. Yeah. I'm moving to Utah with Gavin's friend.
Yeah, I heard his kid goes to a nice private school.
Goes to a nice private school. Yeah, maybe he'll come back. I don't know, man. Come back.
I bet he doesn't.
I'll bet he doesn't come back. Or if he even exists, I don't even. Hey, listen, I didn't say it. Brown said that.
Since you've worked with different campaigns, if you had to manage somebody, a Rick Caruso type in LA, what would you do differently for him to succeed?
Yeah, I mean, and look, I thought Rick ran a good campaign and would have been a good mayor. I'll give you maybe the example of a little closer to home here in New York. So Eric Adams is our mayor, and he's doing pretty poorly. In the latest Quinnipiac poll, he had a 28% approval rating, which is the lowest of any mayor in New York City recorded in history. And the reason why is he's not in charge, right? We have all of these things in New York. We have thousands of illegal weed shops open and only like 70 licensed ones, and no one does anything about it. We have this massive shoplifting epidemic where if you want a tube of toothpaste at CVS, you got to press a button and hope someone's going to come help you with it. We've got scaffolding everywhere, which leads to all kinds of crime. We have mentally ill people everywhere. We have people shooting up fentanyl everywhere. And Adams just is sort of sitting by and watching it happen, trying to tell people it doesn't really exist. You got to take charge. And yes, that will piss some people off. Yes, that will piss off some ideologues on the left and the right and whatever else it is. But voters, and like I said, I ran my Bloomberg mayoral campaign, so I kind of understand what city voters want. It's pretty simple. They want a place that is clean and safe and well run. They want a place where there are decent schools for their kids, clean, safe parks to play in, fun things to do, and that's it, right? Being mayor is not about abortion or the death penalty or going to war. It's about making the trains run on time, and sometimes, you've got to be aggressive and tough in doing that. We haven't had that here in New York City with Eric Adams, but I think if I were Caruso, I would capitalize on a lot of the frustration in LA that people have with the declining quality of life and really make it about, if you want someone to finally turn this place into a decent place to live again, vote for me.
Yeah, it's more the voters that I'm kind of curious about, because I feel like the LA voters are more entrenched. Like they look at Caruso as a Democrat, or he ran as a Democrat, but they still go, he's still a Republican. Like, I know he's a Republican, And they'll do this thing where they'll go, like, Steve Garvey's running against Adam Schiff. They'll put these attack ads. They'll go, Steve Garvey, Republican, voted for Trump. It's like, yeah, because he's a Republican. And your dipshit voted for Biden. So that's how voting works, when you're a Democrat, or you're like too Republican for California. And basically what he's saying is like, he's a little too law and order, a little too clean up the streets, a little too, I want more cops and more people taken off the streets. Right.
Although so the people making the ads are typically not dumb, and they're working off of polling data and focus group data. Yeah. And what they know, which is the underlying problem in my view, is not many people vote in most elections. And so when turnout is typically 10, 15% in most primaries, and because of gerrymandering, the primary is usually the only election that ever actually matters, who are those people? If it's in California, they're the people way on the left. If it's Texas, they're the people way on the right. They're generally not reasonable people in the middle who just want to get things done. And so they know that if you just appeal to the extremists, you can be successful electorally. That's why I've been funding and running this campaign around the country to make mobile voting possible, because I think that if we could vote on our phones instead of having to go somewhere on a random Tuesday, we'd have a much higher percentage of people voting. And if we can get turnout from, say, 10% in a city council primary or a state senate primary up to 30, 35%. Doesn't have to be everybody, but if we just get higher, then definitionally the interests of your voter change. It shifts more to the middle. You're more encouraged to work with the other side. It's fine to work with Republicans if you're Democrats. It's fine to work with Democrats if you're a Republican. And you can actually get things done. And to me, this is the only way we're going to solve our problem.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's certainly not working the way we're doing it now.
What do you think of, since you worked in the tech world as well, what do you think of RFK Jr.'s announcement of Nicole Shanahan as his VP pick?
I mean, I guess here's the question. I've read a couple of different articles about how much money she got in her divorce, right? And some of the articles make it sound like it was, in the high 8 figures. And then I've seen other ones that say it's in the 10 figures, which would be the billions. I mean, the main reason to add her to the ticket is that she could help finance the campaign, right? So if she's worth a couple of $1 billion, and by the way, Sergey Brin's worth, I don't know, 80, 100 billion, whatever it is. So it would make sense that his ex-wife probably has a couple of $1 billion. And she says, I'm going to put 500 million or $1 billion to this campaign. That's pretty appealing, right? Because think about like his alternatives. Aaron Rodgers was someone that he was looking at, for example, right? Now, what do you get with Aaron Rodgers? You get a lot of free earned media, right? Everyone knows who Aaron Rodgers is. He would literally just keep playing during the campaign itself. By the way, you could probably be vice president and keep playing football also.
I think you could.
Yeah, what are you going to make
Kamala's
the border worse?
proven that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So you're passing up the celebrity of the NFL because you believe that this other person can bring you even more. That's got to be real dollars. Like if she's saying, oh, I could write a $12 million check to the campaign, which pays for like gas for the plane, like, so what? So I assume there's a big number coming as part of it. And if you're him, again, he's a politician. He wants attention. He needs affirmation and validation, and his ego stroked at all times. That's why he's in this business. And if she says, I can put up $500 million in TV ads saying how great you are, that's really appealing.
You know, I was looking her up a little bit over dinner a few nights ago, and it said that she'd only been married for 4 years, and I think that she married the Google guy in, I don't
Google
know,
co-founder,
2018 or something. And I'm like, well, he must have had a pretty heavy prenup. Like last I checked, Google was up and running, when they got married. Yeah, he's probably
got a couple of lawyers on the payroll. Yeah.
Maybe a couple. And wouldn't he have like a pretty bulletproof prenup in that? If
you would imagine, right? But still, he's got to be worth probably upwards of $100 billion at this point. So could she have gotten 1% of that? Yeah, that seems possible. But even then, how much she put into a campaign? So it's funny. Because I ran Mike Bloomberg's campaign, rich guys who want to run for office come to see me all the time, and they say, "Oh, I'm going to run for office, and I'm going to win because I'm so rich." And I'll say, well, are you really rich enough? And most of the time, the answer is they're not. Because, let's say someone's worth $1 billion and they're going to run for governor or senator. You're going to risk 10% of that fortune on a campaign that you're probably going to lose? No, most of them think that they're going to, but they're not going to actually do it. Mike Bloomberg's worth $100 billion. The truth is, I spent $109 million on his last mayoral campaign. It didn't make the slightest difference at all. It's like a rounding error in the bank account. But most people, even who have a lot of money, aren't actually rich enough to spend what it takes to win and not even notice it.
Was Bloomberg, and what year were they married, whoever's got a computer? Because if we're going to bring it up, we should probably pay it off. Was Bloomberg the guy when the ditzy news reporter was like, the money he spends on his campaign, he could give $1 million to every American? Was that the Bloomberg
I don't know if that was
one?
him. Look, it sounds like, yes, he probably could, and that sounds like the kind of thing that, a reporter might say.
Well, no, they said for the amount he's spending on his campaign, not how much is his net worth.
I think he spent, I wasn't involved really in this presidential much, but I think
2018? Sorry. Oh, I was right. Yeah, right. She was married in 2018. I mean, I don't know if she got that much.
Yeah. Well, on the Bloomberg thing, I think he spent close to $1 billion on his presidential campaign in 2020. There are 330 million Americans. So the reporter's math is wrong. It'd be more like $3 a person, not $1 million.
Yeah, it's a funny, if you can find it, Dawson. I think it's a famous clip, and it also has a well-known newscaster on it as well who understands. But anyway, so
Shanahan's attorneys argued that she signed the prenup agreement under duress, and in mediation sought more than $1 billion of his $95 billion fortune. The divorce was finalized in 2023. Wall Street Journal reported that the reason for the breakup was a brief affair with Elon Musk. Shanahan and Musk denied the report.
Oh. Signed it under, I don't know. But anyway, there was pretty big prenup, I'm sure. But either way, I like Kennedy. Done a few things with him. Been to an event or two. Who do you like? And I'll tell you something I'm confused about, and maybe it's just made up, or maybe it's AI or something. I don't get it. But that Joe Biden thing, when he's talking about injecting bleach, that was from earlier in the week. Do you have that somewhere, Dawson? No. Did we have that, Chris?
You did on Adam and Drew, so I'm sure you have it somewhere.
Yeah. I want you to look at this, Bradley, and tell me what you think, because it seems weird. It seems weird to me. there's a little button that says live on it, but I don't know if it's live or what it was. And it also looks really kind of AI, which is strange. It's Nancy Pelosi and Obama, and he bumbles a word, which is also seems weird that they'd make a ad out of it, but he's done that before.
Although that might actually indicate that it's genuine, right?
Yeah, so we know it's not AI. All right, so here's what he says.
This is the guy who doesn't care about science and reason. Remember, during the pandemic, Donald Trump told us to inject ourselves with bleach. He said there's nothing to worry about if you do that.
Seems like a weird angle to run in 2024.
I mean, I think generally speaking, and I don't get why the Democrats don't understand this, which is they keep having the same argument that doesn't work, which is if the voters only learn of one more terrible thing that Donald Trump said or Donald Trump did, then they'll finally get it and they won't be for him. They get it. They know when the Wall Street Journal does a poll and 47% say they're for Trump and 42% for Biden, all 47% are completely aware of who and what Trump is, but they are making the choice that they think, right or wrong, that their lives from 2016 to 2020 were better than they were from 2020 to 2024. Running for office is about the future, right? You've got to make the case as to why the voter's life is going to be better going forward if you're in charge instead of the other guy, and just keep talking about how crazy Trump is or how evil he is or whatever else. It's not going to change any votes. It's not going to change any opinions. And so I don't know why they keep doing it.
Now, it's a very valid point. What we're saying is he said this thing, or you're saying he said this thing that he never said, essentially, from 3.5 years ago or 4.5 years ago or whenever it was. But I'm kind of looking at gas prices now and how expensive it is to eat out and so on and so forth. And that's what I'm focusing on. Maybe he said it, maybe he didn't say it. Either way, I'd like to bring down gas prices. That's how people vote.
You've got exactly. And the thing is, there is some opportunity, right? So if you look at some of the plans that Trump's advisors have talked about where they would dismantle sort of the federal government. Okay, I think in some ways that probably sounds pretty good. But if I were Biden, I'd say, okay, what does that mean? So the TSA, if we only have half as many TSA officers, and I know this is an issue that you've been interested in, then if the line's going to be twice as long and you got to get to the airport an extra hour early, do you want that? If we're going to have half as many air traffic controllers, there's only going to be half as many flights and they're going to cost twice as much. Do you want that? You could take Trump's actual plans and make substantive, tangible arguments for the voters as to how it's going to impact their lives, but you got to make it about their lives, not these broad concepts of democracy or fucking bleach or whatever else.
I completely agree. We need to take a quick break. Back to talk more turkey with Bradley Tusk right after this. Well, good news. It's O Rewards bonus points month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Shop in the store, do it online to receive points and get rewards sent straight to your phone or inbox. Get 2, 3, 4, even 5 times bonus points on select purchases. Receive bonus points on select items throughout the store like wiper blades, antifreeze, coolant, parts cleaner, motor oil, and more. Those bonus points can help get you to your next rewards even faster. You'll receive a $5 reward for every 150 O Reward points to use on your next in-store or online purchase. Members can check points and rewards online anytime. If you're already an O Rewards member and not receiving your rewards, just add an email address or mobile phone number. Get a $10 reward for updating your existing account. If you're not an O Rewards member yet, signing up is easy, quick, and simple. Just do it online at O'ReillyAuto.com or in-store at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
In honor of Jim Carolla's 92nd birthday, here's a list of all the things Adam Carolla will do before he dies. Evade the police or bad guys by traveling at a high speed in reverse. Just one of the things Adam will do before he dies. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Bradley Tusk is here, venture capitalist, political strategist, writer. So, Dawson, can you figure out what that thing is from? Like, what was Biden doing standing next to Obama and Nancy Pelosi? But yeah, I agree with you. Figure out something, figure out how it's going to affect you negatively, and start hitting it. Which, and even, I don't know if you saw the end of Bill Maher's show last week, but he just basically tore in on the Democrats, and he just basically said, like, stop talking about race all the time. Just stop it. Just go back to some issues and talk about that. People are tired of hearing about race, and we're kind of past it, as a society. And I say the same thing. I'm like, stop talking about race and stop talking about Russian collusion and stuff, and let's hear some policies.
Yeah, I think one of the challenges kind of gets back to what we were talking about earlier, which is, so if you're a Democrat running typically because everything's gerrymandered, only really the primary matters, and turnout's going to be 10%, then there's a certain language that you use because the people who are voting in that tend to be very ideological, very left-wing. That's not the electorate for the presidential case, right? And for the presidential, it's the only election in this country where we really don't have a turnout problem, right? Over 100 million people are probably going to vote. And so what makes sense when you're trying to get 9,000 votes for a city council seat in a primary is very different than if you need 50 million votes across the entire country. And I think sometimes, they have a really hard time realizing that we're playing in a different game here. And so the things that work on a very small scale at a very local level don't make sense for Joe Biden as a national message, but they don't seem to see that.
Have you have any insights on any politicians and a little bit of stunt casting coming up? Like, may The Rock run for something? May Michelle Obama enter the picture? Is there anybody you have feelings about?
For 2024, probably not. Like, here's the thing. One, the backup quarterback's always the most popular guy in town until he becomes a starting quarterback, and then everyone hates him. Right. Mm-hmm. So people like Michelle Obama are way too smart to actually step into the ring because they know that the reason why they're spoken of so reverentially is because they're not actually doing it. Once they become a candidate, then all of a sudden everyone starts picking them apart a million different ways and finds all kinds of flaws with them. So most people, I think, who are at that level are smart enough to actually make the jump. But the other thing is this. So in 2016, Mike Bloomberg wanted to run for president as an independent, and I put together the campaign to do it. To get on the ballot in all 50 states, you have to, by now already, have begun the process of submitting petitions, getting signatures, all of that. So it's not really like there is this ready-made, other than maybe no labels, way for even a very, very famous person to just jump into the election because the legal mechanism to do so doesn't really exist.
Are we, because of the new nature of politics and everybody taking a deep dive into everyone's past and all the allegations and all the folks coming out of the woodwork, are we eliminating a lot of people that would make very good politicians?
Yes.
I mean, God, even Dr. Drew, was thinking about running for whatever. And the first thing that everyone goes is, I don't want to put my family through this. You know what I mean? And the next thing they do is they have to think about, did they do any boffing in high school? Were there, was there something in a yearbook that's going to resurface, like
old tweets.
Old tweets. I mean, Kavanaugh, literally sat there bringing up people from high school to talk about his beer parties and stuff. And it's like, does anybody want to go through this? And how many people are we eliminating?
Well, not just that. Think about, therefore, who runs for office. We talked about this before, which is the people who are willing to put themselves through it are really desperate, right? They really need the attention. They really need the affirmation and validation. They're willing to go through basically anything. It also tells you why once they're in office, they never, ever do anything that would risk that seat because they've dealt with so much shit, been through so much just to get there, that there's no way that they're going to throw that all away just to help, kids or whatever it is. So they don't do it. At least the most fundamental thing is we've got to rescue the system from the extremes, right? And whether it's the extremes leading to wild dysfunction in Washington or the extremes on the far left, like the city of San Francisco, or the far right, like the state of Texas, none of that is good, right? We should want a world where smart people can run for office, get things done, work together, and then get out. And we don't have a system that does that at all. So again, the first thing you got to do is make it easier for people to vote so that you bring more people into the middle. And the next thing you got to do is figure out some ways to reform social media or regulate it so there's not this constant cesspool and dumpster fire. The human beings have what's called a negativity bias. And we developed that for a good reason, which was to not get eaten by lions or tigers or whatever it was. You need to have survival instincts. But even though we no longer are in that situation, we still have that negativity bias. And the people who run the platforms, Zuckerberg or Musk or whoever, they know this. And they know that negative content always attracts more clicks than positive content. And they know that in a business totally based on advertising revenue and totally based on clicks, the more that they feed you that's toxic, the more you're going to click and the more money they're going to make. And the thing that really is a problem is there's this thing called Section 230. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it's a provision in federal law that protects the internet platforms from any kind of liability. So when Fox News, for example, said all that stuff about Dominion, they got sued and they had to pay them $800 million in a settlement. All of those same sentiments were echoed on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and everything else, but you can't sue the platform. So if I defame you on Facebook, you can sue me, but you may not recover all that much. But the real deep pockets are Zuckerberg. So for as long as they have this protection where they're totally protected from no matter what kind of content is on there, and they are incentivized to promote the most toxic shit possible, the internet is always going to be a cesspool, and all of the stupid stuff is going to end up getting priority over the things that actually matter.
Yeah, but it's everyone's fault because I, for instance, somehow deduced that Reddit had all the worst stuff on it, right? I never go to Reddit because there's only shit on Reddit, and I never look at Reddit. But I know people who always look at Reddit, and then I tell them, you're poisoning your mind, and they go, I know. And then they go back to Reddit. Like, yes. I don't get it. I mean, I'm not a yogi. I'm not even that evolved. It's just, if you tell me there's a bunch of shit on I don't like, when I drive, one of the things I don't like about LA is there's garbage everywhere. And I get depressed when I drive. Like, I love driving down a scenic highway, not one littered with garbage. And I feel the same way about Reddit. Why would I go there? Why would I take that drive down that highway?
There's a big difference. You have friends in real life.
Oh, that's true.
And a lot of people who are on Reddit or all these different forums, even the crazy shit like QAnon or whatever it is, they only have internet friends, right? I mean, there's a reason why, like, the UK has literally declared a loneliness epidemic, or the Surgeon General in the US, Vivek Murthy, kind of same thing. We've got this problem with all of these people who live this sort of hermetic, isolated lives, and all of their community and their friendship are on these platforms. And so, you have the ability to say, I don't need to go on Reddit. I can go watch, football with my friend, on Sunday in real life, have some wings and have a good time. And they can't do that. And so I think part of it is we've created these sort of walled off communities, and people have to engage in stuff like Reddit, and it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, I was hearing a story that the United States dropped out of the top 20 in happiness.
Yeah, 23.
23 in so happiness, close. And we're never out of the top 20. And a lot of that is people under 30 who are, I think a lot of women under 30 who are just eating their own brains. They're literally doing everything. But part of it is us telling them, you don't need to be a mom. You should work all day, and you should do this, and you shouldn't have to do that. All the things that kind of keep you sane. We're telling them they don't have to do it anymore. They're spending so much time reading about themselves on the internet, and they're literally, their brain is eating itself. And it's going to be I think there was some study that if it was women under 30 in the United States, we'd be in the 60 percentile instead of 23.
Yeah. I mean, look, but this gets back to, reforming social media and the internet. That same World Happiness Report talked about 30% of teenage girls in this country have at least considered suicide, if not attempted it. We have this thing that, to me, generally speaking, social media is literally the unhappiness machine because it does two things. The first thing is it makes you compare your real life to everyone else's fake life, right? And so how do you feel? You feel inadequate because the way that someone else pretends their life is always going to sound a lot better than the way your life actually is. The second thing is the internet shows you the worst of the world everywhere, everything, all at once, all the time. So whatever bad shit's happening in any corner of the globe, we see it constantly. And so our only thought is, man, the world really sucks. So if you feel like your life sucks in comparison to everyone else and the world sucks, you're going to be really unhappy. And so when we talk about world happiness, we have created this thing that in some ways is remarkable, but in many other ways is really driving this deep dissatisfaction with your life.
Yeah, I think people need to adopt something, which is you don't need to know everything all the time.
Right.
You can develop little habits. I said it. I say it all the time. I've never brought my phone into the studio ever. I won't bring it inside the studio. And then people go, "What if there's an emergency?" I don't know. First off, what am I, paramedic? I don't know. What do you want me to do? I'll find out.
Want somebody come get you?
Yeah. Go. If someone will figure it out, or I'll figure it out when I'm done. But I don't need to be fully connected. I was on a 5.5-hour flight the other day. I wasn't hooked up to the internet. I just sat in my seat. And you need to just sit there sometimes. You don't need to be doing something all the time. You don't need to be engaged and connected and seeing streams of information coming your way.
Singular thing.
Sometimes you just get a notebook, put it on your lap, put your earbuds in, listen to a little classical music, and start writing down a couple of thoughts. And you have to create that because it's not going to fall in your lap anymore. It all is working against you. Like you're going to have to develop almost a discipline of shut your phone off at night and go to bed.
Yeah, look, pre-Wi-Fi on planes, there was something nice about the fact that once you took off, time kind of stood still for a couple hours, right? Because effectively the world was as you left it when you were on the ground. It might have changed in the time that you were in the air, but you don't know that, right? So for a little bit of time, rather than adapting to what's changing and happening at the moment, you can just kind of say, okay, this is how it is right now. And then when you land, you might have shit to deal with. But now, there's no respite ever. It's just constant.
I agree. And it was funny. I just was in Florida, and I was out on a boat with an old buddy of mine I used to work with, and you drive the boat off the dock and you cruise the river, the canal, and at some point you dock up and you get a drink and you have some fish tacos and you hang out. And anyway, doing some shows at night, went to Mar-a-Lago, had lunch, walked around, looked around, and a lot of stuff. And then I got back, and then you get back and you go, did you hear about this whole Andrew Huberman thing? And I go, huh? Andrew Huberman's big issues. And I'm like, huh? Then everyone's looking at me going, you didn't hear? And I'm like, no, I was on a boat. I was eating tacos. I was not invested in Andrew Huberman. And no, I didn't hear about any of it. But
and you're glad you didn't hear
I'm glad I didn't hear about any of whatever it is we need to talk about every 10 seconds. Went out to dinner, did some shows, had a good time. Watched both Roadhouses. Watch number one and number two.
How is the remake? I saw that on like Amazon or whatever. Was it good? Did you like it?
It's not better than the first one. It's pretty good. I mean, you realize Conor McGregor's probably a better actor than anybody who's ever come out of Hollywood. I mean, he's literally better. He's literally a better actor than every professional actor in the movie, which is a sad testament on the state of acting. McGregor's great. It's kind of like it's a little bit woke in that they have to put the woman of color here and then the young woman of color there, and he's got to be trying to protect them or save them or something. And then also, he's just a little too shredded. He does not have to be that ripped. And they go this thing all the time. They go, he was an MMA fighter. Yeah, he was an MMA fighter. He's retired.
MMA
yes,
fighter.
You want to see what those guys? They have two weights. They have their fighting weight, and then they have what's called walking around weight. And the guys who fight like 187, this guy's walk around at 235.
Yeah.
That's the body you would have if you were bouncing in Boca Raton, not cutting weight to make a UFC fight. So he was distractibly jacked. Mm-hmm. And also, you literally have to like cut out all salts, not eat anything but protein. Like your diet would have to be insane just to sort of walk if that was just your condition. Like that's how you look. So a little homoerotic there, but Gyllenhaal's fun, and it was totally watchable.
So you liked it.
Do you guys sort of pulling one of these strings? Do you guys feel like you get enough protein? Like I feel like I consume enough of it, but when you look at like what the experts, the Hubermans of the world say, they say like 1.7 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of your weight. That's a lot of protein, right? Like I just don't, know how much salmon can I possibly eat over the course of a day to get 140 grams of protein. So, God bless Conor McGregor if he's doing it, but it feels like it becomes like a full-time job just to get sufficient protein to meet whatever the experts say you're supposed to do.
Well, we found out too much about diet and nutrition in the last 10 years. And it's a bug. It's like a worm in all our heads now, because it used to just be get up, eat, leave the house. No one ever thought about it. Like I think about these guys. Think about these guys from the 50s who'd be sitting at a diner who would have a slice of pie at the end of every meal that had a piece of melted American cheese on top of it, And that guy was perpetually 157 pounds all day, every day. Left the diner, got back in his truck, and just pulled off into the sunset. And no one ever talked to him about how much water he was drinking or how whether he was hydrating enough or how much protein, or was he on
probably did die at like 63 though.
Probably, and the cigarettes helped keep the weight off, Yeah,
exactly.
But he didn't have to walk around like all day thinking about it. This is a close cousin to the internet and Reddit and what we're talking about, which is like this constant, what's in it? What am I putting in my mouth? You learned that's way too many carbs. Like we all know better.
I got one of those Oura rings. I couldn't handle it. I had to stop using it because I thought pre-Oura ring that I got like 6.5, 7 hours of sleep a night. Not quite enough, but good enough. I was living my life, no problem. Then I decided to get all this new data. It's telling me I'm sleeping like 5 hours a night. And I got so stressed out that I wasn't sleeping enough that I then started waking up during the night to check the data of the ring to see how I was sleeping, and just kept making the problem worse and worse. It was like I literally couldn't handle it. There's too much information. It's just sitting in a drawer.
Yeah, I had the same thing. Now, I'll tell you what's best for sleeping, because I was on the road for a while. 110-pound lab that snores just enough to let you know he's on the bed. You know what I mean? But not so loud to keep you up. And every once in a while, you just flop your hand over and try to figure out if you're smacking him on the ass or on the head. Because it's always a little tough to tell. But, that's what's best for sleeping. And always shut the phone down. That's the next one. I'll tell you the best thing for sleeping is a ceiling fan. But I've realized that women and men are divided right down the middle on a ceiling fan. Every guy I know loves a ceiling fan, and every woman I know hates a ceiling fan.
What's wrong with it?
According to women? Yes?
Yeah. I mean, it seems
okay,
seems
women, first off, women have like magical powers to be annoyed by things. That, they'll do stuff like, you wake up with the dry eyes, you're all dried out, your eyes are all dried. I go, no, I don't know what you're talking about. It's making the noise, it's wobbling. I've heard everything from my forehead is cold to it dries out my sinuses to I'm scared it's going to land on my head. I've heard it all. I was literally at an Airbnb, and one of the guys I was with, I was like, how's your room? We're all in the same house. And he goes, oh, it's got a ceiling fan. And I go, oh, you get to use it? And he goes, I love it. And I go, oh, you like a ceiling fan? And he goes, well, at home I don't get to use it because of my wife, but I got one here and I'm using the shit out of it. And then I realized that women universally hate the ceiling fan. Although, it's not really for solid reasons. It just has something to do with drying out things or having cold foreheads. And guys love ceiling fans because A, it feels good, but B, you get hooked on that white noise, that whooshy thing. But no, has anyone been with a woman who wanted a ceiling fan? Has there ever been such a thing where a guy was like, no more ceiling fan, and the woman's like, oh, I love the ceiling fan? Has anyone met that couple?
I have not, although I would say I have one of the cooler girlfriends on the planet. And so if there was someone who would like a ceiling fan, I'm going to ask her after this. I think she might be it.
Ooh. Oh, really?
Report back.
Yeah. This is going
to... she likes sports. We watch tons of sports together. She likes, movies like Roadhouse. She likes going out and eating wings. So I think I got a shot on the ceiling fan.
You sure you're not dating a dude?
Yeah, that's a suspect.
Yeah, I'm
Check
I'll bring her by the studio now. Yeah.
I'm so convinced that this is a thing, the ceiling fan, that I realized that when, the confused 15-year-old comes up to you and says, I really think I'm a woman trapped inside a man's body and I'm confused and I want to take hormone therapy, I'm just going to go, well, let's do a little sleep study. So you say you're a woman. Yeah, even though you have the men's genitalia, but you say you're a woman? Yeah, okay, well, let me do a sleep study. Just lay down there. We're going to do a little sleep study. Mm-hmm. And then I would turn on the ceiling fan, and if they said shut it off, I'd go, oh, you are a woman. We've done this. The test is over, and you have passed. So what do we think, Bradley? One last on the flying car, since that's something you know about.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that we realistically use this thing in our lifetime?
Yeah, definitely. It'll start off being more like kind of like a mass transit version of like the bus or something like that, but it'll be kind of flying taxis that fit 12 or 15 people in or something like that. That'll be the majority of it. But, look, think about, I have a sort of New Yorker's love-hate relationship with LA, right? In a lot of ways, I love the weather. I love my friends out there. I have a good time. But I hate the fact that every time I want to get from point A to point B, I get in an Uber and it's at least 45 minutes to the next place. Is there a world eventually where instead a flying car is taking me 80% of the way there? Yeah, definitely. Is there ever a world where like we just sort of like open up our window and hop into the flying car and, drive it like we would like our Chevy or whatever? No, maybe not. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here. But look, this is true on whether it's flying cars or autonomous cars, a lot of other things, which is, we've also got to sort of open up the regulatory scheme so that new technology can actually happen, right? So like one of the reasons that self-driving trucks and cars has been stymied is that Washington's been holding up rules on this thing now for 7 years where there's just no rules one way or the other about how this stuff is supposed to function. And so there's a lot of cool stuff that could happen in AI, in crypto, and machine learning, and drones, and autonomous vehicles, and all these different spaces. But we need our politicians to, instead of carrying the water for all the entrenched interests who don't want competition or like things the way they are, to open it up and let us have better technology so we can have better lives.
There, a positive note to go out on. Bradley, where would you like me to send people? You can find you on Twitter at Tusk Ventures, right?
Yeah, you go to bradleytusk.com. That gets you anything else that I'm doing. My writing. I have a host of podcast called Firewall. You can check it out from there. So, if you go on there, you find it.
Thanks, Bradley. Next time you're in LA, bring your girlfriend and we will eat some wings and watch a game.
Watch the sports and then see about the ceiling fan.
See about the ceiling fan, because she may draw the line.
Put one in the studio.
There. Good to talk to you, my friend.
You too. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, you can go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows coming up in Reno. That'll be Saturday. We'll be there with Leno at the National Automobile Museum. I always want to say Automotive Museum for some reason.
You can have that discussion with them when you get there.
Is the I'm trying to think. I think the one out here.
Peterson?
I think it's. I always call it the Peterson Automotive Museum. Maybe that's why I keep stumbling on it, because it's not the Peterson Automobile. I don't even say the word automobile anymore. That's the problem. All right.
Yeah.
Bakersfield's coming up at the historic Bakersfield Fox Theater. That'll be April 13th. Chicago, the Den Theater. That'll be April 19th and 20th. Salt Lake City's coming up. Wise Guys, May 3rd and 4th. Until next time, Adam Carolla for Bradley Tusk and Chris Max Pata and Rene Vaca saying mahalo.